This is today's AEW Collision full show results video, which takes place at Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina, and the show started with the entrance of Ricky Starks. He comes into the ring holding Steamboat's belt in his hand. Tony Schiavone announced Tony Khan says Starks has been suspended 30 days from wrestling in AEW due to whipping a 70-year-old man, and Starks says age doesn't matter, there need to be consequences for your actions, so he had to whoop Steamboat's ass. He says blood is on CM Punk's hands, not his, for bringing Steamboat into a dangerous situation, and he is going to set the whole company on fire, and he will start waging war next week. Then we saw a match between the Acclaimed versus Iron Savages, and the result of this match was the Acclaimed defeated Iron Savages by pinfall after hitting the simultaneous Fameassers on the Iron Savages. The Acclaimed cut a promo after the match, holding up daddy-ass boots, and they want the AEW World Tag Team titles and will have a match on Dynamite to climb back up to the top of the mountain, and they lead the audience in cheering for daddy-ass and say they love him. Then Bullet Club Gold cut a promo backstage, and Jay White says these four men are the most elite form of Bullet Club ever, and White talks trash about the elite, saying the Guns are actually the best brother tag team in AEW, and they will see the Young Bucks on Wednesday. The next match happened between Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander versus Diamante and Mercedes Martinez, and the result of this match was Diamante and Mercedes Martinez defeated Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander by pinfall with the roll-up, and Mercedes talks trash after the match and says she is coming for Chris Statlander's TBS title. Toni Storm is interviewed backstage about the women's four-way match at All In, and she gets upset when asked about losing the AEW Women's World Championship to Hikaru Shida and storms off. The next match happened between Samoa Joe versus Andrew Everett, and the result of this match was Samoa Joe defeated Andrew Everett by submission with the Coquina Clutch. Joe grabs the mic after the match, and he says he issued a challenge last week to CM Punk but has been met with the deafening silence of a coward. The real world champion is acting like a real bitch right now, and Joe is pissed off. He gave Punk the courtesy of asking, but since Punk isn't very talkative tonight, he'll have to convince him. Christian Cage and TNT champion Luchasaurus make their way to the ring, with Christian holding the belt, and Christian talks trash about North Carolina and its local sports heroes like Michael Jordan. As far as wrestling goes, Christian is far superior to Ric Flair or any other wrestler from the state, and he says Darby Allin disrespected him, and Darby will never touch the TNT title again, and he basically threatens to murder Darby if he keeps coming after the gold. Arn and Brock Anderson interrupt the promo, and Arn reminds Luchasaurus that he's actually the champion, not Christian, and Christian reminds Arn that left him in a pool of his own blood a few months ago, and Arn says if this was 20 years ago, he'd spinebuster his ass and take that belt. Instead, it's Luchasaurus versus Brock for the belt. Then we saw a match between Luchasaurus versus Brock Anderson for the TNT title, and the result of this match was Luchasaurus defeated Brock Anderson by pinfall to retain the TNT title. Darby hits the ring after the match and he goes after Luchasaurus with his skateboard, and Darby asks if Luchasaurus the dinosaur has ever had a skateboard shoved up his ass in all his years on this earth, and Darby challenges Christian to a match next week, and it's made official. Then Powerhouse Hobbs makes his entrance to the ring for an interview with Tony Schiavone, and Hobbs is holding the Book of Hobbs. Too many people have been distracting him lately, so he had to go back home and find the Book of Hobbs. He doesn't need anyone's help, and the next chapter is titled Redemption. How will he redeem himself after losing the TNT title and the Owen Hart tournament? In order to get past this chapter of redemption, he needs to call out the Redeemer, and Miro, get your ass out here. Miro walks down to the ring, but before he can enter, the QTV crew attacks him from behind, and they throw Miro into the ring, and it's not clear if this was a trap set up by Hobbs. Miro comes back to destroy Aaron Solo, but Hobbs comes from behind and puts Miro down with a spinebuster, and he leaves the Book of Hobbs on Miro's chest as he walks out. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between House of Black versus CM Punk and FTR for the AEW World Trios Championship, and the result of this match was House of Black defeated CM Punk and FTR by pinfall when Samoa Joe suddenly appears and chokes out CM Punk on the outside, and then Julia Hart is on the apron for a distraction, and King Lariat's Dax for the pinfall win to retain the titles. Punk is grabbing his throat on the outside. House of Black celebrates as the show goes off the air.